bring on our final speaker, our keynote speaker for the day one of the Top Producer Playbook. Give me a second here to get CareyAnn ready, and I will be bringing her on in just a moment. All right, everybody, please help me welcome CareyAnn to the keynote stage here. How are you?
Hey, I am good. Good to see you.
Yes, you too. It's been a while. It's been a while since we, had you on, and I was, looking for amazing, top producing talent out there, and obviously I thought of you, so I'm excited to have you on, and I know you're going to share a lot of great stuff with our audience today.
Yes, well, I'm just very grateful that you thought of me, and I'm excited to unlock all of the leadership mindset, some plays, some strategies for elite production and long-term success. So I'm ready. Let's do it.
Do you have
screen if you're cool with that? I've got a PowerPoint and some goodies. I know when I go to these functions as a loan officer, I always like to have some takeaways. So for those that are with us and watching, feel free to take some photos of what I'm going to share today. And then I'll leave my email address at the end if you want any more information. I'm an open book. I'm very grateful for the career that I've had over the years. And now I'm ready to share the recipes on how to bake the cake. So you'll never see me actually baking a cake, just so you know, but I'll share all the mortgage recipes when it comes to all of that. So it's good stuff. So awesome. I've got to keep the young ones close for me to understand how to do all of this technology. So I'm not sharing my age here, but I've got Lindsay helping me square it away.
No problem. If she wants to hit present, and then once those pop up, I can put your slides on the screen.
Awesome.
And like a lot of us, mortgage business is your secondary career in love, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I'm a full-time mom as well, so I'm grateful for that. I'll talk a little bit about that here in just a second, but yes,
there we go.
I actually also am a full-time branch manager. So I'm a producing branch manager, and some people say, what does that do for your originators? How are you able to recruit so many amazing talents? And I let them know that it's important for me to be on the streets with them, right? I'm an example for all the originators that I mentor and coach. I always say I'm not their manager. I'm just more of a mentor and a coach for them. And so excited to help support all of them to their great levels as well as my personal team. So good stuff happening here in Middle Tennessee. So let me understand how to turn my screen here. Is this just going to turn it? Huh? No. How are you going to do it? I apologize. Give me 1 second. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yep. I got your.
Cool. All right. So, and can you see me at all or no? I don't know if you can see.
Yep. We can see. We can see you and the screen.
All right. Perfect. We're great. So we'll get started. We're going to unlock the leadership mindset. I think this is what you asked me to talk about today. Some plays and systems. It's definitely time to drive elite production and long-term success. So I'm excited to share all the things. For years, I didn't realize how important this thing was, right, to my personal business. And it's amazing what just a simple mind shift can do, right? A mind shift is a change of focus and perception, and it can have extraordinary powers and true magic for you and your business. I'll share a little story with you. For those that don't know my story, I grew up in New England. I moved to Nashville to pursue a career in music. I fell into the mortgage business 25 years ago. I spent part of my career in operations, and then I moved into sales. After a few years into sales, I was really lucky and blessed to be able to win my first production trip. They send us to these magical places, for our hard work. And I'm in this big ballroom, and I'm sitting way in the back because I think I was the person receiving the last award. And I was looking up at the stage, seeing what I thought were these creature-like humans, right, that were doing these crazy ass numbers way over my head, right? The perception of, what is even, that type of unit number, there's no way that I could do units or numbers like them, right? I'm not worthy of their success. Those people must be different than I, until I had an opportunity to sit with a few of them. And I definitely support all of you and encourage all of you, if you have not sat with a top producer, if you're aiming to reach maybe their success levels, to absolutely do that. Because I'll tell you, when I sat with them, one said to me, CareyAnn, are you interested or are you committed to your business? And I paused and thought about that for a little bit. Another one said, you have to build your business like a business within a business. And then the third one said, you just have to simply think bigger, act bigger, and do bigger, right? And so I was really grateful for all that information. I got back to work, and you know what I did? I just fell back into my old habits, right? I just kind of did what I did on a regular basis, and I was producing kind of the same business like I always did. Until I fast forward to you about 12 years ago, I decided to have a little one late in life. And right after that, I was diagnosed with something called postpartum. And for those ladies in the room or on the Zoom or on our call today, you might know what that is. But for the gentlemen who do not know, that is when an alien takes over your body and you have absolutely no control, and you spend hours and hours and most of the days crying, right? And so many weeks after that, I was asked to leave my job. So I went from something to nothing overnight. And I was definitely at the lowest place of my career and possibly my life at the time. And I was at a crossroads trying to decide if I was going to be in this mortgage business anymore, right? And if I was going to be in the mortgage business, was I going to do it the same way I did it yesterday? Or was I going to do it maybe the way that those creature-like humans were doing it so many years ago, where they were thinking bigger, acting bigger, doing bigger. They were running their business like a business within a business. And they definitely were not just having one toe in, thinking that they were interested in their career. They were definitely putting the full foot in and truly committed, right? And so I will tell you, that is when I changed my whole mind shift at that moment 12 years ago. And I absolutely committed to my business. And I created what I call CareyAnn and my mortgage team. And I'll tell you that at the time, there was no team. It was just CareyAnn and a big dream. So I will tell you, since then, and then again, it's only been 12 years, people thinking, you have to be in this business so much time. And again, 12 years is a long time. But for being in this business for 20 something years, it only took me 12 years to build something that is long term, that allows for many benefits coming at me and my team for a long time. So let me kind of go into, elite production isn't accidental, right? We know it's built through intentional and purposeful systems and a mindset wired for a true champion, right? Knowing that every day is game day. And I'll tell you that is something that I do. I say to myself, I ask myself the question, am I interested or am I committed today, right? Am I kind of half-assed in it or am I fully in it, right, to conquer the day? And if I am committed, let's go. Let's do all the things. It's truly game day, right? And that's one thing that I would want you guys to take away today is getting that mindset, organized in a way that that it's game day. If you want to produce at the top levels, you just need to think, plan, and act like the top do, and do it consistently. And you'll see this word being shared often: consistently. It makes a huge difference. There's some things with folks that are top producers. There's some certain mindset, takeaways. Ownership over everything is one of them. Top producers, we don't blame anybody else, right? We don't blame interest rates. We don't blame the market. We just own the mission. We think about the numbers and achieving those numbers and the true outcome of what we're looking to do, right? So we're not going to sit back and say, the rates are high today, right? So that's the reason why my business is just flopping, right? We're going to be quick to pivot and take 100% ownership. I'll tell you that this quote I say to myself often, because this is all about taking ownership. Remember, our success is not determined by the decision of another. If I was allowing the person who let me go from that company, right, decide my future, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today. We wouldn't be able to have hit almost 1,000 families a few years back, right? And make income levels that I could never have imagined, right? So just remember that the decision of another, an agent leaving you, does not change the outcome of your success. A client deciding that you're not the lender of their choice is not going to determine your success, right? And or anybody else, like one of your team members leaves you, right? You're going to continue to be successful. So it's all up in here. Another mindset thought process is think bigger, act smaller. Elite performers see the big picture, but we obsess over the small daily habits, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You'll notice that I do the same thing over and over again. And I do certain things on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I will tell you, now that I'm a full-time mom and I'm really focusing on her, I only work Monday through Fridays, and I kind of just do surface work on Saturdays and Sundays. But I start really early. On Monday, 6 o'clock every morning is when I begin. And I put boundaries around my day, at the end, so I can focus on my daughter. Our future business is hidden in our current routine, right? So what is your routine? This is another one that is a really good thought process for top players. Confidence through clarity, right? We gain more confidence when we have true understanding, right? When I know my craft really, really well, I always giggle. I said, put me on a mortgage game show, right? I'm ready to rock any guideline. I know my guidelines inside and out because today and every week I study my craft, right? So I know what I'm talking about very confidently, right? And that's through clear glasses and clarity. But clarity builds confidence. Confidence builds consistency, and consistency builds success. We want to build our business like a business. And the only way to do that is through understanding all things, right? Having clear systems, right? And being very, very confident that you and I can be women and men of our word, right? We're only as good as our word, right? We're only as good as our last transaction. So we need to shine bright with every one of those, and do not promise something you cannot deliver, right? And kind of layer that so your business continues to grow. 2 + 2 will equal 4. If you want to get to 4 and you don't have a 2 and a 2, you got to figure out how you're going to change the variables there to still get the ultimate outcome that you're looking for. Okay, success is found in our actions. I know the gentleman before talked about actions. I love that word, right? And we're about to soon be in May, right? An action a day for the month of May. You can kind of play off the words there. But what are you doing daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, right? Are you just winging it? Is there structure around it? Plan the work and work the plan. We talk about a business plan. Do you write one? I always kind of create an opportunity for our staff to create a business plan. And I find that time is spent sometimes more brainstorming and kind of throwing ideas out. You'll find that the top players have structure, right? It is written. It is layered into a true path towards success. And I always say to everybody that works with me, if you do what you say you're going to do, you will create success, right? And you have to be quick to pivot because not every play, and we'll talk about plays here in a second, is going to work, but you want to be able to have as many opportunities and many different plays to throw in there for your success to continue to grow, even if the market shifts, even if the interest rates go up, right? Because we're not going to blame anything, right? We're just going to continue to drive forth. So I love this. My girlfriend uses this quote all the time: work works, right? If you work at your craft, it will definitely create success for you. No time to slow with our goals in sight. Champions simply go for gold all the time, right? I always say we're going to aim for the moon and land among the stars, right? And I giggle. I took my kid to Jackson Hole last year, and we had an astronomer there, and they were reminding me that the stars are further away from the moon, type of thing. So that whole saying is a little off, but you get the concept, right? We're going to definitely always go big with the hopes that we're going to kind of land somewhere, if not there, land somewhere higher than we were yesterday and or the year before. Commit to consistency. That is key. I will tell you that, if you are not consistent with your health goals, right? With your relationship goals, whether it's friendships or marriage, and even your business, right? Things fall apart, right? And so you've got to stay consistent with all that you are doing to create success around that. So I'm a very simple girl. I'll tell you, I passed high school 1 point, college 1 point, and the mortgage exam by 1 point. I am proof that you don't have to be book smart to be successful in the mortgage business. I try to relate everything back to something that I'm comfortable with. Sports is one. I was an athlete for a really long time growing up, but also I was into an entertainer, right? I sang and I was part of a band. So I kind of relate back to the entertainers schedule, right? So when we are writing music and we're practicing our songs, we're kind of in the office, right? Studying our craft, doing all the things. And then we are out there performing, right? So you and I are very similar. We're out there going after business, or we're sharing different strategies through, productions on the sense of events, et cetera, right? But business is like sports. There's some sense of organization around it. Customized playbooks make it really, really easy for you and I. Winning strategies, right? You think about football. I think somebody was just talking about football. And so, they're going to do this play or that play. What plays are you doing, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And if the play on Tuesday didn't work, what are you going to bring out to shine bright, on Wednesday? What got us here won't get us there. I remind myself each and every day that what got me where I am last year, those same plays may not work this year. What got me through the first half of the year may not be what I need to do the next half of the year, right? So that is just something that you need to think about. Always be on your tippy toes. I talk about pivoting really fast. You got to be ready to move very, very quickly because, again, rates are going to change, right? I'm been ready to rock if the rates dip, right, for a whole refinance boom. I've got all these plays ready to go, and they're just kind of sitting there. But if I didn't plan ahead for what potentially could be, right, I could miss out on an opportunity for tomorrow. So being ready with your plays is key. So be ready, confident, and willing to always feel forward. Taking big risks. If somebody asked me, if I was to change anything, I probably would take more risks years ago, right? I probably would have just been myself years ago. I try to be like somebody else a long time ago, and I just didn't take as many big risks, right? I giggle because I always felt like I couldn't talk to people that were purchasing luxury because that was for them and not for me. And I just wasn't worthy of talking to people who were purchasing luxury properties. That's craziness, right? We're all the same. It's just a different number, right? And so taking more risks, jumping in the deep end and learning how to swim later in the game is always key to me. Throwing things out there just so you're forced to have to do them makes a difference in my business, because if not, you're going to be paralyzed. Sometimes if you're a perfectionist like me, you kind of sit back and you become paralyzed because it's not perfect. And I don't like the way I look today or my, this or that, right? So you just don't do. You just got to get out there and do, and you'll find the success comes with it. So I'm big on playing on words, having a lot of fun with what I do, because if this business isn't fun, why do it, right? Yes, it makes us a lot of money, but we could be bored and we only live once, right? And so we're definitely going to play hard and really enjoy what we do. So we're going to pull out all the plays. These are a few ones that I will skip through really fast and share with me if I'm running out of time. But old school is the new school. Welcome to my world. Social me this, text me, eyes and ears open, put in the miles, jump, learn, and do. Real tracks, agent and consumer education, just for fun. Take my money. Some of them like to do that, right? $1 million follow-up, giftology, business to business, and program me this. These are all different plays that I use on a regular basis to help me create the success that I have. Now, I will tell you that I'm only as good as the people I surround myself. So remember when I told you I created something called CareyAnn and my mortgage team? It started with a trifecta. It was me, another person that was licensed, and then somebody in operations. So it has kind of built it that way. And then as things grew and the numbers were more excessive, I built a few more pods, right? We call them pods. So they're little trifectas. And now I have 4 pods. So I have 4 licensed originators that work closely with me, a couple LOAs, and then I keep my processing and underwriting in-house with me as well. Okay. So having a great team is key. And that's another whole class. But again, you're only as good as the people that you surround yourself with. And I'm really blessed to have great people. So old school is the new school. You and I both know, if you've been doing this business a really long time, we're using tools today that we used to use back in the day, right? So being really familiar with all of the things, right? Buy downs, thank you notes, right? These were things we used to do a long time ago. I'm telling you, turn a lot of heads. Now, half of the people that I send thank you notes to, they can't read it, but they know it came from me, right? Back in the day, someone said, you send out cards. That's too pretty, right? I don't have pretty handwriting. So if you know it came from my heart, you know that you can't read it, right? So thank you notes. First impressions matter. I do a lot of first impression wows, right? Having a courier ready to rock so I can send something to them the day before I go meet them, right? Or send something right after is really key. Don't hide behind email. Get out there, make the phone calls and text message. Do lots of farming. That's an old school way, right? And open houses are something that we're doing a lot more of. Welcome to my world. I love this. Many of you are on social media. Again, I'm over 40, close to 50. So I stay what I'm very familiar with, which is Facebook. I'm looking for the 28 to the 75-year-old real estate agent. Sometimes those people are going to be on Facebook, right? But you have Instagram. The other gentleman said, throw it out on TikTok. I'll tell you, I've never been on TikTok. And I think I'm on Instagram, but I'm not on Instagram, right? So all that I do and what I create is on Facebook. And I tell you, even though it's an old school method, I make a lot of money and make a lot of connections on Facebook because I welcome lots of people into my world. And you can do that many different ways. As soon as you have a contract, the buyer's agent, the listing agent, make sure they're added to your social media, right? If you go to an event, you'll notice where I'm always hanging onto my phone because I don't like to wear my glasses and I'm blind in one eye due to this business. And that's a different story. But I'll take pictures of their name tags, right? And as soon as I get back to my car, I'm asking to be friends with them on social media. You want to welcome them into your world because maybe they judged you by the way you looked or what you said at the time. Again, people shouldn't judge, but they do. But now you're able to welcome them into your world and see that you are this and that, right? So definitely use social media to share all about your business. I think that's super key. Social media, post on a regular basis, engaging things. If you follow me on social, you'll notice that I'm doing all kinds of different things and sharing. Again, remember, my audience is the real estate agent, right? My audience is not a loan officer. My audience is not someone from high school. My audience is majority real estate agents, not even consumers. I have a business page for that. So I'm looking just to be real and connect. You'll find that I connect with the other gal who's trying to get fit by 50. I connect with the woman who's a single mom. I connect with a strong business owner, right? I connect with people that are looking for deals to get saved and have a confident lender, right? Social media, making sure you're using your social to be able to make stronger connections. Feel free to take pictures of all this if you want. Text me. I do a lot of texts. I will tell you that some of these transactions I do, I've never even spoken to the real estate agent. I've built an entire connection over a text message, right? You can do the same. And so don't feel like you have to be so in connected with one that you have to see them all the time, et cetera. If they're busy, you're busy, right? You're looking for business owners just like you're a business owner, right? So they're quick to want to have less communication. Most likely some of those cats are not going to go to a happy hour, right? Because they don't have time for it. So getting to the point really fast, providing them what they need very quickly, whether it's knowledge, whether it is a successful closing, right? A confident ability to get something done really fast is super key. So text me is one of those. Eyes and ears open. I'm telling you, I find more business just by listening and keeping my eyes open. When I say eyes, there's so much on social media, right? You see these different masterminds and different things. That's great. I let the people that are part of them do it. I don't want to fight. I don't have time to fight with anybody. So I wish them all the best. I stay very local and very connected with the people that are posting here, right? The agents. Remember, majority of my 5,000 plus people that I'm connected with on social are majority real estate agents, right? So they're going to post different things. I find opportunities all throughout that. I'm quick. They're talking about an ugly home. I'm quick to reach out and talk about, hey, let's market it as a renovation loan. Somebody was talking about, hey, I need an investment manufactured home. Well, at the time when you and I didn't have it on a broker side, I was like, you can't do that. We'll find out that they were buying it for their mom. You and I both know that that doesn't have to be an investment property, right? So that denial turned into a flip just because I saw that on social. So keep your eyes and ears open regular and you'll find lots and lots of business. It's all right in front of you. Put in the miles. I'll tell you, when I moved to Middle Tennessee, I landed on Moore's Lane. That's where I was going to make it big in the music business, right? This is also Williamson County. It's the most affluent town. At the time, it was very heavy gentlemen who were wearing suits, and they were not going to let this young 20-something-year-old beat them at anything. So I was like, forget it. Y'all stay here, fight amongst yourself. I'm going to drive an hour north, east, south, and west. And that is how I built my business. I went to places that didn't know about me, didn't know about the company that I worked for and all the goodness that I had to offer. So do not take putting in a little miles as a negative, right? Get out there, step out of your comfort zone. One day, my assistant had me traveling and I passed a horse and buggy. I mean, I was going south. We were going way south, but I left there with 10 transactions, right? So you go into places that people need a little extra love can make all the difference. Jump, learn, and do. I will tell you, you just need to be quick to want to learn something. Just be the first person at every training. I will tell you that I offer masterminds. The people that are in my masterminds are my top 5 people in the office, right? Be present, show up, just really understand your craft, right? Schedule it in. I study the way that people do presentations on a certain product. I find them on YouTube, right? You can learn more about the ins and outs on VA loans, right? I'm the queen of VA loans. I also say I'm the queen of your double wide because I can help anybody close a manufactured home in 8 days because I know how to do those loans really, really fast. So really understanding your business, understanding the company and the process that works for the company that you work for, right? Really having that dialed in and just understanding the loans that you're willing to want to work with. Middle Tennessee here, we're Music City musicians, right? I got to know how to do musician loans inside and out, the self-employed, right? And so if we can't do them conforming, I got to know all the ins and outs of non-conforming, right? And I got to be the best at the best. I can't take a loan on that I can't close, right? And so knowing how to being comfortable with being uncomfortable is key with all things there. Real Tracks, this isn't just another idea. You can grab business. You know, you get your Community One programs. You got these other specific things. You can go in, find who's listing those, reach out and capture business that way. Agent education, if you know me, I love to put on a lot of events. I love to bring education with a fun twist that's very compliant, right? I do a lot of those. I call them something. I always find it's a lot easier when you call something a product because it's easier to talk about this, talk about CareyAnn as a third party than to talk about yourself, right? And so my events, I call them different things. I've had Elevate for a few years until kind of the agents started taking on that name. So now I have it Accelerate with CareyAnn. And I had 65 agents here last month, right? And so you can bring lots of education. Now, I love teaching. I was and loved performing, right? Being an ex-musician. So I teach first-time homebuyer classes, 1031 exchanges, VA classes, mortgage mastery for agents. You can go down the list here and see, right? Right now, agents love to learn how to use their cell phone and create reels, right? So I call it the Real Estate Pro through CapCut, right? Those are things you can do. So I think a successful class is 5+ people, right? So you can even do those in front of a real estate office if you want, if you don't have access to a training room. The other thing I love to do is bring in bigger speakers, right? And sometimes, you know, you can have a speaker teach AI or have a speaker teach something very specific to the real estate community, and you can capture lots and lots of business that way. It's kind of throwing out the net and then figuring out who your people are, right? And kind of dialing it in and creating relationships that way, right? Welcoming all of them to your world just for fun. I love having a good time, right? And so you can have happy hours. Again, you can't give anybody something for value, right? But you can have a contest. And I love to have a lot of contests when it comes to giving tickets away for music concerts. We go bowling a lot, top golf, axe throwing. I love serving our VA community. My dad and siblings are veterans as well. So doing veteran breakfasts are key. We do some things in the fall. We do a whole thing on holiday pop buys, right? So you can teach them how to do it or bring all the materials in and they can make it together with you. And then also for the month of March, I do Lucky Bingo, and where I play bingo online and teach all about mortgages, right? So just building relationships through fun is key on that. Take My Money. You love this one. Sponsorships, right? All of these people want lots of your money, right? For this breakfast or that lunch or this association thing or that. If you have the opportunity to sign up for that, just don't give them the money and run. Make sure that you have time for you to be able to share your spiel, right? Your pitch. Make sure it's scripted. Make sure that it's down pat. Make sure that you share a problem that you can solve, right? It's really, really key to be ready at all times, because when you have the stage, you only get 10 minutes for even that $500, right? You want to make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck, right? So make sure that you're ready to rock. Don't just, I see a lot of people just get up there and say, hey, you know, I'm an originator and, you know, I hope to work with you, right? Make sure there's something meaningful there that you can turn heads. I will tell you, I've walked up with boxing gloves. I walked up with a boom box, right? I want them to lift their head off of their cell phone to be like, who is this crazy lady? And, you know, what is she all about, right? So I'm going to get their attention and then I'm going to show them that I'm full of true confidence and education and someone that they can trust with all things mortgages, right? $1 million follow-up. This is huge. You and I both know that it's the money's in the follow-up, right? People can call me once, I'm not going to answer. You can call me twice, I'm most likely not going to answer. Third time, fourth time, I might answer, right? And I might connect with you. Very similar to other people, agents. I will tell you that it took me 18 months, almost 20 months to capture even the attention of the number one agent here. And now she and I are doing business. She was actually my speaker in my class last month. So it makes a difference, right? Do not give up. If you believe in the connection that you're looking to do. There's different ways to follow up, right? You can email, text, call, video. I sometimes send books in the mail to turn ahead, but be patient, don't give up. And remember, you're only looking for your people. I met this guy once and it changed my whole world. He says, I think you're looking for not your people. I think you're trying to connect with not your people. Those people are not your people. You're trying to turn their heads to you and you do business with, or them do business with you, but they're not your people. They're not going to be loyal to you, right? So taking a moment and finding your people is so key. I spent a whole year blocking and deleting some of these agents that just use me for this reason or that, right? It is okay to not do business with everybody. It is okay to say no and not be a yes person. Giftology, I love that. If you haven't read that book, definitely read it. It teaches you all about how to make connections through small little gifts. Again, remember, we're very compliant. So this is a mug that I made. It has my information on the back of it. I think it cost me $3 to make. I make them every year. People are looking forward to it. It's kind of a collection series, but you could just send gifts just because you're not sending it for a referral, et cetera, right? So they get it whether I do business or not. So little things that you can do to make a difference. Birthdays are really important. I love it. My birthday. I know that other people do. There's some people that reach out to me and say, do you know that you're the only person who sent me something on my birthday, right? So taking a moment to make somebody else feel special, I think is really key. It's not the thought that counts, but it's the thoughtful thought that counts, right? So taking a moment to think through things is really important. Example, if you see that I'm working out all the time, you're not sending me cookies, right? You're sending me, a fruit salad or something like that, right? You took the time to understand that I was looking to try to be fit, right? And so you made that connection, or you saw that my kid is the puzzle princess. So you don't even care about me, but you know that I love my kid. So you send me puzzles for her, right? That made the connection, and I do business with those people. So that's something to think about. Business to business. You guys know about that. Connect with your HR association chambers, multi-level marketing influencers. I do a lot with HR departments, right? Those are things that we learned a long time ago. You can continue to move forward with those. Programming this, anything you can create, give it a name. This is kind of what I told you about. It's a lot easier to sell something that is named, right? Our Community Hero program, our Veteran Appreciation program, a Seller Advantage program, Builder Advantage program, all the things, right? Call it something so you're able to get out there and talk about it. We have some programs that you and I both have, DSCR loans. Half the world doesn't know what that means, right? Maybe call it something different so you can make a connection with somebody and they understand it, and then bring them back to what the program is, right? There's a family program that allows for the 5% down, but I don't know if there's even a title. We'll create a title, right? Make sure it's easy for people to understand for others. And lastly, I'll just say, remember, become the CEO of your business, shift your mindset, create a playbook, write out your systems, hire those that fill the holes in your bucket. And I'll tell you, disc tests are huge. We use the animal test here, right? I'm only hiring people that complement me. If I hire the same person, we're going to fight, right? So make sure when you're building a team and a support system around you, you're hiring those people that support you and fill the holes in your bucket. I'm a very disorganized gal. So Sam is my number 2. She is super, super organized. We start at 6 o'clock every morning, right? And so I do business better because of her, right? I've got a great marketing gal that helps me as well. And so it's all about the people that you hire. Stay consistent in all things that you do. If you did it on last Monday, are you going to do it again this Monday? Or are you just going to, wing it, right? Stay consistent and have structure around all that you do. Build trust and create a strong brand that allows you to play the long game. I giggle with the So Good. I started that maybe 3.5 years ago, hashtag So Good after everything, because I want things to be fun. I want the mortgage experience to be fun. I want you to come to a class that's fun, right? I want it to be so good to a point where I made my license plate so good. So all my branding and marketing is so good. There's a big neon sign in my office here that's so good. So there is something to be connected back to your branding. Because they know around here locally that, what we do is so good, what we create is so good, and how we help other real estate agents build their business, is so good. So that is a branding thing. And always remember to believe in yourself, right? And you too are worthy of those crazy numbers like you and I talked about at the beginning. And it's funny because I actually surpassed those numbers that those people were doing, back in the day. So, raise your bar and just know that when you're in the mortgage business, a success doesn't mean you have to be crazy, right? If you say, CareyAnn, or whoever your manager is, and you say, I want to be a $2 million producer, right? A month, right? Then do that. Hit that goal, right? If you want to hit 40 million, do that. 60 million, do that. Whatever your goal is, go after it because you're worthy and deserving of that. There was a loan officer that started with me. He wrote his goal is $28 million. He's an ex-athlete. I said, that's a great goal, but we're going to go ahead and cross that off because I believe more in you. And I know if you and I do the tasks that we talk about, you're going to surpass that just organically, right? Just by doing. And he closed $50 million last year, right? So these plays work, systems work, but getting this on track up front is key, and shifting that into game day every day will make all the difference. So thank you so much for having me here today. If you have any questions, more questions for me, you can always email Ask CA. I go by CA as well. So askca@cmgfi.com. I'll share anything that I have with you and help walk you through something that can help you be more successful tomorrow. So thanks again for having me.
Awesome. Well, everybody, do you have any questions for CareyAnn? We got you were right on time there, so we got a minute or two. I really appreciate you joining us and sharing. You're doing amazing numbers, and it's awesome to hear from people that are doing it, and see how it's happening, how it works, and there's different ways to do it, and everybody's going to take from people different ways that they can learn and they can do their business. So how long had that guy been in the business when he did 50 million last year?
Yeah, so he has only been in the business a couple of years. So he 28, he's maybe his first year with me, he did 50 million. So the company he came from, his top producer was doing $35 million, right? And so in my peak years, I was close to 300 million, right? And so again, I'm an old school. I'm not a book smart gal. I'm not even very tech savvy, right? I built my business just doing simple things, but very consistent ways of doing it. Now he's young. He reminds me a little bit of myself back in my 20s. So he's using technology and things, to share, maybe speed up the process a little bit more, but really proud of him and all that he's created, and everybody else. You have to hit a certain number to reach our production, winnings this year. And I think I had 7 out of my 15 loan officers. So really proud of all of them.
That's awesome. Alex wants to know if you have any digital tools that you're a big fan of.
Yeah. We're adding that, so if you have some that you want to share, I know Reach is one, because we talked about texting. I forgot to tell you, Reach is something that we're going to be adding. I do a lot of, old school ways. So I probably work a little harder than somebody else that isn't using some digital methods. We talk about video and getting things out there. I use CapCut. I create my own videos and different things. But, that kind of stuff. I will say ChatGPT does help me pretty up some of my emails, which I love because it still lets CareyAnn-ness in the email, but it maybe cuts down some of the 7,000 run-on sentences. So I do use that for ideas. I do promote, you and I to get on there and say, hey, if I'm a, originator, what are some top things I should be doing today or this week, in Q2 or Q3? And it gives ideas, and maybe it's the same ideas you had before, but maybe they're sharing it with you in a different, strategy or rhythm that you weren't using before. So I use that a lot too.
Cool. Yeah. It's ChatGPT is a game changer.
Yeah. I mean, again, some people are, the other part of it, remember, I'm not a refi gal. I was a purchase centric gal. So even in the refi boom, I was 85% purchase. Right. And so my purchase business comes from real estate agents, right? And so I'm really focused on how to grow the real estate agents so then I get more business, right? And so if you talk about ways to help them, I'm trying to teach them how to grow their business, right? So that's another strategy too. And you can use kind of the digital tools. So like on the ChatGPT, I was teaching them how to prompt and create more opportunities for themselves. And so, and or like our listing advantage program, right? At the end of the day, you want to be ready to have all the product at your fingertips, right? All the inventory at your fingertips as a loan officer. And so making sure that they're set up for success, and you can get a lot of ideas through those different, methods. I don't like to steal. I like to create and compliment. So there's no stealing. I love a good idea that's stolen, but don't use all of their words 100%. Make sure it sounds like you, because I think that's good.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I appreciate it very much. I very much appreciate your time and you giving back to our community. And, for folks that don't know, like I said, I mean, they can look you up on Modex or Reddit or any of that and see the kind of production that you do. It's amazing. And I really want to thank you for sharing with us on how you do that. And hopefully the people listening will take advice from today and go do the work.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Remember, it doesn't matter what state you originate in. My average loan size was $200,000 for years, right? And so I knew if I needed to make more money, right, 2 + 2 has to be 4. I just had to serve more families, right? And so my buddies that are in California, they serve a smidge of what I have to serve, right, to be able to get to the same dollar. But that is the choice. I love where I live, and I love the people that I serve here, right? So you just have to find different ways to connect with more people, right? And throw the net out there with more opportunities, and it definitely works. So good stuff. Thanks again for having me.
Awesome. Yes, thank you very much, and you have a great day. All right, everybody. I want to thank you for joining us for day 1 of the Top Producer Playbook. We've had some amazing speakers and sponsors. Be sure to join us tomorrow. If you're not already registered, go to my Facebook. You'll find the link for day 2. Make sure you register so that you get the link to get on and watch. And if anybody has any questions or anything for me, you can find me on LinkedIn or Facebook at any time. I'd be happy to help you. So thank you all very much, and we will see you soon. See you tomorrow.